Hi everyone, how are you doing? I hope you all are fine. Today we will have adjectives that compare. First, you have to log in using the aplusstudent.com. Click on your name, move on to language at the grade 6. Alright, the chapter is adjectives that compare, and the lesson will be form and use comparative and superlative adjective good, better, best, bad, worst, and worst. Alright, so we will start now. Okay. So we have use. You can use adjective to compare people, place, or things. All right, so we use adjective to compare people, places, or things. Comparative adjective compare thing or group to some other thing. All right, so we have comparative adjective, compare a thing or group to some other thing or group. They end with er. So usually the comparative adjectives end with er when they are comparing. Okay, so they're just comparing a thing or group to some other thing. All right, so just basically like a little thing. That's what they compare. And then for superlative adjective, they compare a thing or group of things to the larger group. Okay, so superlative compare like a larger group, and then comparative it's more like a smaller group. Okay, that it is part of. They usually end with est. So for the superlative adjective, they end with est. Okay, that's what we have for superlative adjectives. So for most one syllable adjective and for two syllable adjective that end in y, the comparative adjective ends in er. Okay, so most times for one syllable and then for two syllable that ends with y, you have the comparative ending with er, and then the superlative ends with est. Okay, so we have tall, that's the base word. Then the comparative we have taller, then tallest for the superlative. Okay, and then for most adjectives that end with more than one, that has more than one syllable, okay, add more to make comparative. So if it is just one syllable or two syllable that ends with y, you can either put er or est. Okay, but if it is more than one syllable, you have to add more for comparative and then most for superlative, because it is more than one syllables. So just like this over here, we have intelligent. Now we have more intelligent. You can see that it's more than one syllable. So we have intelligent. So it's basically like four syllables. So of course you have to put more intelligent for the comparative, and then for the superlative you have to put most intelligent. Okay, so that's how you go about it. If you have just one syllable or two syllable, then of course you can use the er or est, and then if you have more than one syllable, then you have to use the more and most. That's for like the comparison. Okay? So that's comparing them. All right, so let's look at some examples. We have complete the sentence with the correct comparative or superlative adjective. Okay, so you have to complete them with the right one. So we have, of all the contestants on the game show, the gentleman from Detroit had the dash knowledge of international affairs. So we have broad. So is it going to be brother or brothers or more broad or more most broad? So broad is just how many? How many syllables is that? It's basically just very little, right? It is not more than one or two. So we will have words brothers. Okay, so the superlative form brother, the superlative form of the adjective is the most suitable one for brothers for that sentence. Okay, so we also have Wesley's explanation of the water cycle was much brief than the one in my biology textbook. Brief, so what is that? Briefer, okay, because we already just have one syllable, so we would just say briefer with er. So we'll move on to the test. So just remember that if it's one or two syllable, you have to use er or est, and then if it is more than one, so let's say more than two syllables, then you use most or more. Okay, so we have the Moses cookie that Letty bought at the bake sale was moist than the brownie. So moist or moister, what's the right one? All right, so we have moister. So we will complete the sentence with the correct comparative or superlative adjective. According to the news reports I saw yesterday, last summer was the cool summer on record. Cool or coolest? What's the right one? All right, so we have the coolest. Okay, so this would be the coolest. When Tina was a baby, she had the plump cheeks of all four kids in her family. Plump or plumpless? Which of them is the right one? So we have the second. Miss Chapman prefers living in California because the climate is much mild than in Minnesota where she grew up. Mild or milder? So we have milder. Of all the contestants on the game show, the gentleman from Detroit had the broad knowledge of international affairs. Broad or broadest? So we have brothers. Okay. Wesley's explanation of the water cycle was much brief than the one in my biology textbook. Brief or briefer? All right, so we have the next one. The Buster's cookie that Gwen bought at the big sale was moist than the brownie. So moist or moister? All right, so we have moister. So we'll move into the next lesson. If you haven't done this, you have to make sure that you complete this later on, okay? So we have good, better, best, bad, and worst. So you can use adjective to compare. Of course, we know it's comparing people, places, or things. And comparative adjective compare a thing or group to some other thing or group. So it's like comparing between two. They usually end in er. Okay. Now superlative adjective compare a thing or group or things to the larger group. So it's comparing more than one. So it's like a bigger group, and they end with est. So the adjective good and bad are irregular. So these are all irregular comparative adjective and superlative. So we have good as the base, and then better would be the comparative, then best would be the superlative, then bad, worse, and worst. Obviously, you can see that they are totally irregular. They're not like the usual ones that end with more or most or er or est. So we should empty the gutters this weekend since the weather next weekend is supposed to be very bad. So what would be the adjective here, the comparative or superlative adjective here? So we have what? Worse, because we have bad, worse, and worst. So we have it is alarming but true. Our planet is experiencing that the bad rate of species extinction in recorded history. So of course we're gonna have what? Worst. Okay, so because this is comparing like a whole lot of species, so it's not just like a smaller group, it's talking about a species extinction. So we know that it's like a lot larger group. And then this one, the first one was comparing like this weekend to next weekend, so it's just comparing between two. So usually if it's comparing just like two things, it is comparative, and it's comparing like larger, we have the superlative. So the bad cereal in the whole grocery store in marshmallows, sugar puffs, Robbie said. So complete the sentence with the correct comparative or superlative adjective. So is it the worst or the bad? All right, so we have worst. Okay, so you can see that this is comparing the cereal in the whole grocery store. So it's not comparing just like one cereal, it's comparing like in the whole store. So of course they're going to have like a larger group. Okay, Ronald thought that the pain from the web sting was bad than the pain from any bee sting he had ever experienced. So is it bad or worse? All right, so we have was. Okay, so this one over here. Okay, all right. So I have to confess that I had a good time at the football rally than at the antique auction, Shelby told her dad. So good or better? So we have better. Okay, all right. So many music enthusiasts debate about whether digital recordings of songs sound bad than Vale's record. So what do you think, bad or worse? So we have worse. The Golden Raspberries Awards, also known as Razzies, are awarded to movies that the Golden Raspberry Award Foundation believes are the Dash Movie of the Year. So bad. So is it worse or bad? So we have worst. I think I have a good chance of keeping my New Year's resolution this year than last year. So better or good? All right, so we have, I think I have a better chance of keeping my New Year's resolution this year than last year. Okay. In 1998, the publishing company Modern Library selected James Joyce Ulysses as the good English novel of the 20th century. So is it good or best? All right, so we have best here. This is the dash talent show I've ever been in. Sadie mumbled under her breath as she walked off stage. Bad or worst? So we have worst. Okay. Rick and Jake are constantly debating whether James Curtin was a good harmonica player than John Mayall. So is it good or better? Alright, so we have better. Okay. After researching dog breeds, I think the Collies is the dash breed to have around small children. Good or best? Alright, so we have best. Okay. So scholars agree that Nero was a cruel Roman emperor, but whether he was dash than Domitian remains a source of debate. So bad or worse? So we have was. Okay, so what is the right one here? So according to Uncle Zach, an adjustable reg is dash for making bicycle repairs than any other two, good or better. All right, so we have better. Okay, so that's it for our lesson under adjectives that compare. Can you tell me if you have any questions or not? All right, so since we have no questions, we'll end here for today. If you haven't done this lesson, please make sure you complete this lesson later on in your free time. See you all next time. Bye, everyone.